to break down the NFL game. Joining us now, you see him on Pro Football Talk each and every day, Monday through Friday, NBC NFL analyst, also the host of the Chris Sims Unbuttoned podcast. It's the one and only Chris Sims joining us from East Lansing, Michigan here on this Saturday morning. Chris, we appreciate you taking the time to wake up with us here on the Lombardi line. Before we get to your game, Washington at Michigan State, let's talk some NFL and let's talk Jets Cowboys. Can the Jets survive this Aaron Rodgers injury and make this a competitive game tomorrow afternoon down there in Big D?
I do think so. I mean, listen, it's going to be a tough battle. We know that. We know how good Dallas's defense is. But I think, the other side of the coin there is the Jets' defense is real as well. And, a little bit Dallas, as impressive as they were in week 1 against the Giants, there's one negative. Their offense didn't really have to execute or do anything or, work out the kinks from not playing a whole lot in the preseason or anything like that. So I don't know, where to gauge them exactly, but this Jets defense is special. And then the other thing, hey, we know Zach Wilson, it's going to be a lot on him and what he looks like and decisions and, taking what's there and not making stupid mistakes. But also, one of the things Dallas had a problem with last year, and we'll see if they fixed it or not, is their run defense. And we saw the other night that Jets O-line, if it can stay healthy, I think is going to be able to move some people in the run game all year long. Now they got to get a little better at pass protection. But, yeah, I think if it's limit big mistakes, things like that, I do think the Jets can hang around and make this interesting.
Christopher, you loved Zach Wilson coming out, and that's not a knock. We all love certain players. But I don't think you can give up on that love. I know there's a perception out there. But if you were the offensive coordinator of the Jets and you were Nathaniel Hackett, what would you do to this offense to kind of maximize Wilson's strengths? Because he has strengths. He wasn't the second pick overall because he doesn't have any strengths. What would you do to maximize his strengths? And do you feel like, this is the most important part of the question, do you feel like he's changed and grown up and accepted that he has to be a professional player to take the next step?
Yeah, no, that's all the right questions right there. One, I'm with you in that you don't give up on him, and that's why they don't want to give up on him. They know how talented he is. I mean, his talent is real. Right. So, I mean, his arm, his movement, he's a very explosive athlete. So the potential is there. We know that for sure. Now, I think, hey, the fact that he got drafted, yes, number 2 to a defensive coach, to an offensive coordinator and Matt LaFleur or Mike LaFleur, who hadn't called a play in the NFL to that point. I don't think any of those things necessarily helped Zach Wilson. So I think a lot was on his shoulders. And I think his head was spinning a little bit. And he told me, Mike, at the Hall of Fame game earlier this year, he goes, man, I was so uncomfortable and, my head was spinning and I was thinking about our offense and how to read defenses that he's like, I almost forgot how to throw the football. He's like, I lost track of my mechanics and everything. So he's in a different mental space now than he was then. And of course, this was a huge offseason for him to be around Nathaniel Hackett. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers to see how to approach the game like a real pro. And I don't think he really had anybody to kind of show him the ropes that way. And then on top of that, Mike, I think the thing I would like to see, I know everybody, get the ball out of his hand quick, do this, do that, right? Hey, this too. Throwing the ball quick can be really dangerous. The risk-reward there is scary at times. Oh, yeah, we're going to jam it in there for a 4-yard completion around Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. It's a safe short throw. I don't know. I used to make a lot of those throws and go, damn, that was the scariest throw all day right there between all those people, right? So I would like to see a little bit of, hey, run the ball, play action pass, max protect, make him feel comfortable. And we know Dallas plays a ton of man-to-man, and let these guys work down the field a little bit on them because he will sit in the pocket and throw some lasers around the field. That's where I hope to see the offense go a little bit under Zach Wilson here.
Yeah, I think
just to follow up on that real quick, Femi, I'll let you go after that. Al Davis would have said, Christopher, we did all that for 4 yards? Are you kidding me? And he's right.
Exactly. No, and listen, you want Aaron Rodgers? What did they do to start the game the other night, Mike? It was typical West Coast shotgun, 3 slants on one side. Right, all these basic stuff that I want to go, well, Buffalo saw this play, the first play in April OTAs. Like, what do you think this? Yeah. So then They thought the ball was going to be out quick. That's why they cut the D linemen. But they were all over what was downfield. And to me, that is what I hope they don't do. Because I think that is, if you're Tom Brady hated three-step drop game, right, Mike? He didn't like to do that. Because, again, the risk-reward, trying to get it out quick into these tight windows, ball tipped, receiver gets hit as he caught it. There's a lot of disasters that can happen. And I think that's why, I don't love that aspect always.
We're speaking with Chris Sims, NFL analyst, former NFL quarterback. You can see him on X at CSimsQB. Also, check out Chris Sims Unbuttoned wherever you get your podcast. Well, let's talk quarterbacks. Let's talk these young quarterbacks, and particularly the two that will be facing each other in Atlanta. Jordan Love against Desmond Ridder. What were your takeaways from those guys in their Week 1 performances, and what do you expect to see tomorrow afternoon down there in the ATL?
Well, listen, I was impressed with Green Bay altogether. I know Chicago is not going to be real great, but, you watch football long enough, you can see, I don't care who they're playing. This team's got some talent and potential here. So I like that aspect. And then, Jordan Love, his best receiver, Christian Watson, who's, can fly, is one of the most explosive receivers in football. Him not being out there, I've liked what Jordan Love has looked like all summer. It hasn't been perfect. He's missed a few throws here and there, but the one thing, he doesn't look like deer in the headlights. He's very comfortable in the pocket, and where he's different than Aaron Rodgers at the age of 38, 39, and 40 is he's willing to hang in the pocket and let some plays develop downfield and strike for some explosive plays. So that's what I liked about Jordan Love, and he looks like he's getting comfortable week by week. They got a good O-line. They got a good defense. Hopefully he just continues to realize, I don't have to do it all. Atlanta, I like their team. But there's got to be more in the pass game. They're not going to win the NFC South or go to the playoffs if they think they're going to, get the type of production in the pass game that they did last week. I know they're going to be able to run the ball and do that, but it's the NFL. You're not going to be able to run the ball and just mow over people week after week after week. There's got to be some semblance of a pass game. I like Desmond Ridder. His arm does not wow me. I think it's an NFL average arm. It's gotten better since Cincinnati as far as mechanics and things, which I won't get too deep into the weeds there. He's a pretty good athlete, but that's definitely one thing I'm looking at to go. Atlanta, to me, is kind of an under-the-radar playoff team, but they definitely need a little bit more of the passing game to contribute here if they really want to be a threat in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree. I don't you get the sense that Ritter's a little bit too careful with the football, Christopher? I don't think he trusts his accuracy to put it into tight windows. And, I agree. Great, you're 15 for 18, but at some point you got to make a hard throw. And I don't get the sense he trusts that enough.
I agree, and I think they got to open it up that way a little bit. I know we all want to take care of the football and do all those things, and that's important, definitely. But, there's a fine line there in okay, we're going to protect the football and throw short passes, and then, wait, let's actually try to go win the game and make some plays and put some real pressure on a defense. And that's where I feel like they're missing out. And, Mike, that's the thing that I worry about Desmond Ridder. I know he's got all the intangibles. They like the person. They think he's made of the right stuff. And I've been around him before. I get that totally. But I did question him coming out of Cincinnati and his ability, like you said, to control the ball on 15-yard out routes and comebacks and really put it into a tight window like you got to in the NFL, or hit a deep crosser that's 25 yards down the middle of the field where you go, yeah, he's only open by a foot, but that's open in the NFL. You got to throw it in there and throw a strike. And there is reluctance there. And then that's where he looks to maybe run or do something else off of that. But, yeah, that aspect of their offense has got to open up, and I think he's got to be a little bit more aggressive. And they got to trust him a little bit more, I guess. We're at that point here, too.
Hey, Chris, we've got about 20 seconds left. You'll also be on Football Night in America on Sunday Night Football, Dolphins, Patriots. Who do you like in that game in Foxborough?
Well, I'm going to go with the Dolphins, but I don't go, it's just write it in stone here. No, that Patriots defense is real. So that they'll have some tricks there for sure. But that Dolphins offense is as creative as you see in football. It's as fast as you see in football. And I just think they got a little too much talent for New England. I'm going to take them to win a close one.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.